All right, let's talk about something called awakening yoga. This isn't your typical yoga. It's a practice that's really built for the way we live now. For those of us who spend a little too much time at a desk or staring at a screen. It's all about shifting from thinking to feeling.
So let's just start with a really big question. When you think of yoga, what comes to mind? Is it that struggle to get your heels to the floor in downward dog? Or trying to force your body into some kind of perfect geometric shape? Well, what if that was never the point?
What if, instead, it was all about waking up the wisdom that's already inside of you? Shifting the goal from performing yoga to actually experiencing it. That right there is the heart of awakening yoga. Okay, so if this practice is really designed for our modern lives, what exactly is it? Let's break it down. The best way to think about awakening yoga is like a bridge. It totally respects the ancient roots of yoga, but it adapts everything for our 21st century bodies. It's all about functional movements that help undo the effects of sitting all day, and it encourages you to move in ways that feel intuitive and natural, not just ways that look good.
Now, to really get this, we have to go deeper than just the physical side of things. It really asks for a huge shift in your mindset, a move from thinking to feeling. And trust me, this idea is the absolute core of the whole practice.
So on one side, you've got the thinking mind. You know this voice. It's the one that's always judging, focused on what a pose should look like. It's always chasing some static, perfect ideal, and honestly, all that self-criticism can be pretty stressful. But then on the other side, you have the feeling body. This is all about the experience. It's fluid. It cares just as much about the journey between the poses as the poses themselves. It works from your center out, not from your head down. And look, this isn't just some nice philosophical idea. It's actually grounded in our biology. It taps into two really key sensory systems that help you get out of your head and truly into your body. First up is something called interoception. Think of it like your body's internal dashboard. It's that sense that tells you you're hungry, or that your heart is racing, or that you need to take a deep breath. And what's amazing is that research shows that when you get better at this, it's not just for yoga, it's linked to better emotional regulation and making more intuitive decisions in your everyday life. And the second one is proprioception. This is basically your body's own internal GPS. It's how you can close your eyes and still touch your nose. So instead of needing a mirror to see if your arm is straight, you start to develop the ability to just feel where it is in space. This builds a much smarter, more adaptable body, and it helps reduce the risk of injury in pretty much everything you do. Okay, so we get the philosophy, right? It's about moving from thinking to feeling by tuning into our body's own senses. But what does that actually look like on the mat? Let's get into the nitty-gritty of how it works. A great way to see the difference is to compare it to a style you might already know, like vinyasa. You see, vinyasa often follows a pretty set linear sequence. But awakening yoga, it's non-linear, sometimes it's even circular. And while traditional alignment is key in vinyasa, here it's all about what actually works for your unique body. And this is crucial. The transitions between poses aren't just filler to get you somewhere else. They're treated as being just as important as the poses themselves. The whole thing is built on a few core ideas, kind of like a yin-yang. You've got the solar practice, which is more vigorous and builds strength. And then you have the lunar practice, which is much more restorative and quiet. By balancing this effort and ease, the practice gives you this incredible freedom to choose what your body actually needs on any given day.
All this theory is great, but the absolute best way to understand this shift from thinking to feeling is, well, to feel it. So let's make this tangible.
We're going to take one of the most common poses in all of yoga and just explore it with brand new senses. I want you to forget about that perfect triangle shape you've been told you need to make. Instead, let's just listen to what the body has to say. Let's start with your hands, your foundation. Instead of just pressing your hands down, I want you to feel this cue. Imagine that energy, that you're actively trying to rip the mat in half. See, you're not just pushing down, you're creating this outward force that sends a current of stability all the way up your arms and into your shoulders. You can actually feel how strong that connection is. Okay, now for your back. Forget that rigid command to keep your back straight. Instead, just invite this image in. Imagine your tailbone is as light as a helium balloon, and it's just effortlessly floating up toward the ceiling. This isn't about forcing a shape. It's an internal feeling that creates lift, that creates space between each and every vertebra, all from the inside out. And finally, your legs. The old goal might have been to jam your heels to the floor, right? The new goal is to just experience sensation. So imagine pedaling your feet, but you're moving through warm, thick honey. This slow, deliberate movement lets you feel the stretch ripple all the way up the back of your body, from your ankles to your calves, into your hamstrings. It becomes an exploration, not a destination.
So you can probably already tell how powerful that shift is, and that's just in one single pose. But what happens when you apply this way of thinking, or feeling rather, to your entire practice? Let's look at the bigger picture here and why this all really matters. So how can you start doing this yourself? Here are a few simple ways. Try closing your eyes. It tunes out all the visual noise and really heightens your internal senses. Slow everything down to that warm honey pace so your brain has time to actually process what it's feeling. Maybe get rid of the mirror and learn to trust your body's own map. And finally, just play. Move in new ways, circles, spirals, anything that isn't a straight line, to break out of those old habits and let your body take the lead. And when you do this, the benefits are just profound. When you can feel everything, you intuitively know when to back off, which is huge for preventing injuries. You start to notice and untangle all that chronic tension you've been holding on to. And on a deeper level, moving this way can actually be a way to process stress and old emotions that have been stored in your body.
And really, this is what it's all about. It's not about what your yoga looks like, it's about what it feels like. It is a powerful, powerful act of coming home to your own body and finally listening to the incredible intelligence it holds.
And that leaves us with one last question to chew on. This shift is a game changer on the yoga mat for sure. But just imagine taking it off the mat and into the rest of your life. What could you discover in your work, in your relationships, in yourself, if you just started feeling a little more and thinking a little less?